The walls of Keh'nar bypass thrummed with tension, a rattle of fear and excitement that resonated through the narrow corridors of the alien settlement. Oren blinked. Adjusting to the fuchsia glow of the hovering lamps, he barely had time to absorb the sight of the local Keh'nar guards who loomed beside him, scowling. They weren't known for their patience. Human rumbled Greg, the tallest of the muscular figures, his voice like gravel grinding through gears. You must choose tame or be tamed. Oren smiled, his hands clasped casually behind his neck. Funny. I was hoping to just negotiate. Negotiation was a skill he prided himself on. Years in the chaotic corridors of Earth's trade markets had given him a unique ability to charm even the gruffest characters. But here, on the Keh'nar homeworld, taming meant very little to him. He squinted at the wide doors that led to the beast's chamber ahead, the very thing everyone feared and respected. Oren was here for information, not for a wrestling match with some monstrous creature. Across the aquamarine hall, the entrance yawned like a mouth, and an unmistakable growl rumbled from deep within. It was a sound that sent shivers even through Grak's armor-plated chest. The Keh'nar had once thought they could master the creature, bend its will to serve their needs. Four before him, tall and lean as they were, had tried to tame it, and each had vanished. Now they were desperate enough to gamble on a human. You think you can negotiate with it? Grak asked, his eyes narrowing in disbelief. Why not? Oren shrugged, stepping forward. What's the worst that could happen? I mess up an alien negotiation? That's pretty low on my list. The Keh'nar exchanged uncertain glances. It was impossible for them to predict how a human would fare. Most came here believing strength was the only answer, the attainability of brute force, a mere touch of raw power against the creature. Yet, after countless disastrous attempts, the Keh'nar were willing to listen to this strange little human with a flair for talking. Remember, we have no backups, Grak warned, stiff. Make a mistake and I end up as lunch, Oren interrupted, winking. I'll keep it in mind. The guards parted, revealing the dark chamber beyond. As Oren crossed inside, he felt the air change heavy with heat and tension. It sparked with an unsaid challenge. The far wall was a jagged mass of granite, and in the center, a sphere of glimmering energy crackled ominously. Within it, he caught sight of shifting shadows. The beast was many things, none of them friendly. It was a creature born from chaos, a mass of scales and fire, an otherworldly terror that no one had dared to see up close. But Oren was not about to turn away. Back home, he had faced angry clientele, rogue traders, and even fickle space pirates. A giant, snarling lizard? PFF'd. A piece of cake. As he drew nearer, the energy sphere blinked, and a bright flash erupted. The beast freed itself from confinement in a blur of speed, its dark eyes narrowing to pinpricks of rage and hunger. It was larger than Oren had imagined, a daunting combination of scales and claws that could slice through metal. Humans are the reason for our failures, it hissed, its voice reverberating through the chamber like an earthquake. Give me reason to believe you are different. Hey, easy there, Oren raised his hands in mock surrender, fighting back a chuckle. I just walked in, and I didn't even ask for a tour. Where's the hospitality? The beast stalked closer, poised as if to pounce. You think you are funny, little one? You will find no laughter in the belly of the beast. No, but I can guarantee you'll have an entertaining lunch. Oren extended one finger, grinning. Look, I know you don't like being confined. I respect that. But how about this? I'm not here to tame you. I'm more interested in chatting. A low growl vibrated through the space, but Oren pressed on. See, I have a proposition that might just work for both of us. You might find it tasty. Something flickered in the beast's yellow eyes, and Oren sensed a shift, not of mood but of intrigue. The creature paused, tilting its massive head, as if the human spirit was infectiously curious. Speak. If you agree to let me go, I can tell the Keh'nar how to deal with the other humans. He stepped back, thinking hard. And in return, you find a way out to here and let your kin know you're more than a forgotten oddity. And you believe that humans can change? The beast's tone lightened, just slightly. Of course, Oren replied, his voice filling the chamber. I mean, I'm the best negotiator on my home planet, but hey, you seem to keep up just fine. You've already outlasted my whole negotiation team. Very well, little human, the beast's eyes gleamed. Continue speaking. Oren straightened, the warmth of confidence flooding him. Time to turn this chaotic gamble into something more substantial. Taming a beast had little to do with chains or cages, and everything to do with understanding. In that moment, amid flickering shadows and the whisper of alien voices, a bond formed, woven from curiosity and opportunity. What would come next remained uncertain, but one thing was clear: the time for closing doors was over. Now, it was time to open the conversation. A hush fell within the chamber as Oren faced the beast, their mutual curiosity punctuated by the flicker of energy surrounding them. The creature wasn't just a terror, it was, Oren realized, also an opportunity. He took a deep breath, choosing his words carefully, recognizing that the stakes had shifted dramatically. "The Keh'nar need your strength," Oren began, feeling the heavy pulse of the energy sphere resonate beneath his feet. Right now they're struggling against a tide of human traders and mercenaries who don't care about their world. They think they can exploit it, strip it bare, and leave. But you. He leaned closer, lowering his voice as if sharing a secret. "You can show them they're wrong." The beast's pupils flickered, a mix of skepticism and intrigue swirling within its depths. "You believe the Keh'nar have not tried to tame me once already? They would prefer their chains to diplomacy. But you, little human, you are not bound by their rules." Oren straightened slightly, his heart racing at the revelation. "No, I'm here to connect worlds, yours and theirs. They just don't see it yet." He gestured toward the energy barrier. "You're stuck, and they don't even know what real potential they're discarding." With a rumble, the beast leaned back, its sharp claws glinting in the ethereal glow. "And what makes you think you will fare better than the ones before? Why would I trust a human who thinks diplomacy is more powerful than strength?" Oren thought for a moment. "Because I can demonstrate it." His voice turned steadier, determined. "You fill the void they've created. Use me as a vessel to express your intent. Show them the power of a partnership." The creature paused, its breath a steady rhythm that filled the space like distant thunder. "Partnership," it echoed, deep in thought. "Is that not merely a form of mutual manipulation? You would twist and wring me like the Keh'nar." "No," Oren said urgently, picturing the chaotic scavenging that had become the norm in his universe. "We create something in alliance. You protect your realm and I'll protect yours. I have knowledge of these humans, and I've come to learn they wildly underestimate the strength of understanding. We can teach them a thing or two about respect." The beast considered, its snarl softening, replaced by something almost resembling amusement, though with jagged edges. "The Keh'nar have always sought strength and ferocity. This currency of your persuasion sounds foreign indeed." "Because it is," Oren replied, the conviction behind his words unwavering. "But those chains? They just hold you back. Strength isn't only in claws and teeth, it's in the heart, the mind, the way we adapt." The air sparked with energy, a subtle shift that framed their connection as something raw and hopeful. Oren held the beast's gaze, sensing a movement in the creature's instinctive understanding. Could he really bridge that divide? "Then let us test this theory," the beast finally declared, a challenging glimmer in its eyes. There was something unspoken in the air, a challenge accepted. Around them, the energy walls pulsed with life. Oren felt the weight of every failure the Keh'nar had faced pressing against him. It motivated him with urgency. "Great," Oren replied, a grin breaking through the tension, though his heart raced at the enormity of what they were about to attempt. "First, we need to convince them." Suddenly a loud crash echoed from the far side of the chamber. An explosion rippled through the ground, knocking them both off balance. Oren and the beast shared a startled glance as dust filled the air. "An incursion," growled the beast, its eyes narrowing. "The mercenaries, they've come." Oren's heart sank. The chaos he anticipated had arrived far sooner than wished. He sprang to his feet, urgency thrumming through him. "We need to act now. They'll think you're weak if you don't show you can take care of yourself." As the dust settled, Oren saw the distant silhouettes of heavily armed mercenaries spilling into the chamber through the broken wall, their intentions as clear as the weapons they carried. He inhaled sharply, reminded of how quick violence often overtook negotiations in a world where distrust reigned supreme. The beast snarled, its form shifting, ready to engage. "Leave, human. This is no place for you." "Not yet," Oren said firmly. "If you want to show them you're more than a beast, now's your chance." With a powerful leap, the beast surged forward, savagery and grace intertwining as it lunged to engage the intruders. Oren dove to the side, knowing he had but a brief moment to act. His mind raced with a plan. Using the element of surprise, he ducked behind a boulder, scanning quickly for an advantage. He stripped a metal gadget from his pocket, an old comm device, and frantically began to patch together a crude signal that could reach the Keh'nar outside. He tapped frantically, praying they'd listen this time. "Youth in response," he shouted into the device, using the name of a guardsman whose presence still lingered in the Keh'nar delegation. "You need to come quickly. The beast is fighting for your survival." While he waited for his message to break through the chaos, he peered around the rock. The beast retaliated with screams and thunderous roars, each move eliciting gasps from the mercenaries who clearly hadn't expected their prey to fight back. As the battle erupted, the beast became a swirling mass of scales and fury, flicking its massive tail, battering the ground beneath the merc's boots. But even as it fought valiantly, Oren's heart sank upon seeing the tactical mistakes from both sides. Instead of coordinated responses, chaos ruled. Then his signal crackled to life. "Oren. What's happening?" Yuthan's voice, laced with confusion, echoed back. "They've come for your land," Oren shouted back fervently. "But if you unite, you can show these mercenaries what strength means in unity." The creature. "Are you insane?" "We can't trust it," Yuthan interjected, confirming Oren's previous fears. "I know. But if we act, if we fight alongside it, we can turn this obstacle into an opportunity. This is what the beast has been trying to show you." Moments of silence hung heavily until Yuthan finally answered, "Will come. Hold your position." Oren felt hope blossom, buoying him up as he shifted to join the fray. The mercenaries hesitated, caught between two wild opponents. The Keh'nar were coming, they could tip the scales. Grabbing a fallen weapon, something crude and heavy, Oren rushed into the clash. The effect of the battle was electric, sending currents of adrenaline and fear through him. The mercenaries, despite their bluster, faltered as the creature turned, now fully aware of the imminent arrival of its allies. As the Keh'nar guards flooded into the fray, their battle cries echoed off the walls. The cohesion surged like a unified front, and Oren knew they had to seize the opening, breaking the tide decisively. "Now," Oren shouted, raising his voice above the chaos. "Show them your strength together." With a surge, the beast roared, a primal sound that seemed to shake the very stones. It surged forward, and the Keh'nar rallied behind it with renewed vigor. They fought as one, a fluid choreography of sinew and strength. And then, something shifted in the air. For all the fear and uncertainty that reigned on both sides, there was beauty in the combined struggle. It reverberated throughout the clash. The lesson on partnership Oren had hoped to teach began to materialize through action. As the tide of battle turned, the mercenaries fell back, clutching injuries, their bravado dwindling under the dual threat before them. Oren felt the pulse of power, the realization that humanity, through its ingenuity, could excuse their missteps and still stand tall within an alien realm. And finally, as the last mercenaries fled, the room filled with a deafening silence. Oren's heart raced with newfound importance. He had done more than survive, he had united. But this moment was just the beginning. Shaping their fate moving forward would take time, patience, and trust across worlds. The beast nudged Oren with its massive head, a gesture of camaraderie. And while gracing an alien creature with unexpected affection was alien in itself, Oren felt the warmth seep in as they shared a moment of connection. "Perhaps," it growled, its tone softer but still resonating with power, "there is merit to this partnership you speak of." From behind him, the Keh'nar emerged, a tentative understanding swirling throughout the air. Oren turned toward them, feeling the balance of power shift yet again. The next steps beckoned, and the ultimate challenge lingered just out of reach. But this time it felt conquerable, an unbroken path of negotiation, unity, and resilience. Together they could forge a future as formidable as the bonds that anchored them, far from the fangs and chains that had once held them apart. The echoes of the battlefield began to fade, giving way to an uneasy silence in the massive chamber of the Keh'nar. Oren stood with his heart pounding, the adrenaline from the fight still coursing through him. Around him, the hum of apprehensive excitement reverberated between the remaining Keh'nar warriors and the beast, who now stood side by side with their newfound allies. The beast, now bearing the mantle of a protector, stepped forward, its sharp eyes flicking between the hurriedly retreating mercenaries and the worried faces of the Keh'nar warriors. It snapped its jaws, a fierce display of power that sent a final shiver through the remaining opponents, who disappeared into the ruins from which they had come. "Why has my power never been acknowledged?" the beast growled, its voice deep with a mixture of confusion and indignation. "I fight. Yet they only ever sought to control me." You existed within a singular narrative, Oren replied, shifting on his feet but matching the creature's intensity. Bound yet unchained, you were revered as both a terror and a beast of burden. But you're more than that, you are a key to a greater understanding. The Keh'nar, still gathering themselves around Oren and the beast, began to murmur. Beneath their rugged exteriors, he sensed a curiosity developing. They had witnessed something transformative. Today was the day they had witnessed an ancient narrative flip, a different story being woven into existence. Oren took in the crowd, their faces reflecting a range of emotions: disbelief, understanding, hope. Slowly, he began to piece the connections together. You fought alongside this creature, and it returned the favor without hesitation, he continued, gesturing to the beast. This idea of mutual respect, this could be forged into something profound. One of the elder Keh'nar, adorned in intricate armor with markings that spoke of valor and triumph, stepped forward. You, human, offer us something different. A path to something we believed impossible. Feeling a surge of determination, Oren pressed on. Where you aimed for control, I propose collaboration. The mercenaries came to invade not just territory but also to break your resolve. A united front with the beast shows whose territory truly stands secure. Several Keh'nar nodded, and in that moment Oren realized he had struck a chord. Imagine a sanctuary, he began, eyes brightening with energy. A place where the beast reigns alongside you, defending what truly belongs to you. You will teach humans about your culture, while they teach you about our world. Each side can grow stronger through understanding. A collective murmur rippled across the group. The elder spoke again. There is merit in this idea of sanctuary inclusive of both species. But can it develop into something tangible? The beast leaned forward, its colossal form now an embodiment of resilience. You have watched me fight. I will defend my kin, but in return, the union of humans and Keh'nar must stand firm. Together, there is no power that can challenge our claim. Oren turned to the beast, the corners of his mouth twitching with hope. Then this sanctuary will not only preserve your futures but speak volumes to those who would listen. Let others see what happens when we forgo threats and embrace friendships. The moment hung in the air, charged with the possibilities that awaited them. The elder raised a hand, silencing the crowd, and his voice boomed with authority. Then let this day mark the moment we exchange dominance for partnership. We will begin the work of crafting this sanctuary. As if weaving a spell, the atmosphere transformed, the air around them buzzed with anticipation. Oren marveled at how quickly a battle had transformed their collective narratives into something greater. Days transformed into weeks. What started as tenuous negotiations slowly blossomed into dedicated efforts. The untouched glades beyond their settlement grew vibrant. The forest became a sanctuary. Living spaces were crafted for both the Keh'nar and the beast, teaching them how to coexist harmoniously. Oren laughed as he witnessed Grak and the beast, both larger than life, carefully assessing a tree built sturdy enough to bear the weight of their friendship. The lumber had to be strategic, large enough to draw a crowd of both beings. They're helping each other. Who would have thought? He spoke softly, more to himself than anyone else. What are you saying? Human Grak asked, eyes narrowed in playful suspicion. He had taken to asking questions of every venture Oren proposed, half amused, half curious. That we're more alike than we appear, Oren replied, his gaze drifting to the play of shadows beneath the great branches. Maybe this world needs a little more chaos to understand connections. With each babbling creak and rustle of fading leaves, laughter intertwined with hard work. The sanctuary arose in splashes of vibrant colors and inventive designs. Gardens nurtured by characteristic scents emerged alongside climbing vines woven by both species, as if nature itself rejoiced in their union. Yet Oren noticed not all were at ease. A handful of skeptical warriors questioned the safety of this candid alliance. They questioned the degree of trust they should grant the humans. One evening, as they all lounged by an ornate bonfire that flickered against the twilight, Oren shared his story. We're often defined by missteps, he began, looking into the flames. I grew up entangled in a dynamic realm of chaos and fervent misunderstanding. Every time I left with a friend after a heated argument, I would reflect on what I could improve upon. Humanity isn't just about connections, it's about growth and accountability. He sensed the attentiveness in the air, a shared struggle that echoed in every eye turned toward him. In the past, we too made mistakes. We took them to heart and mended our wisdom. Every culture has its beasts, not merely in shape or size but often in perception. It takes a humility to see that our greatest teachers may be rooted in our most profound conflicts. The elder nodded, piecing the words together as realization enveloped him. Your experiences speak a language we too have known, he acknowledged, his voice steady. Perhaps it is this foundation of empathy that we have craved while forging our own identities. We must permit ourselves the timeless lessons these beasts bring. Encouraged, Oren leaned into the moment, realizing he had identified a thread that connected them all. He glanced at the surrounding sunset, each flicker of light singing of daring possibility. From my world, I know that fear breeds misunderstanding, and misunderstanding leads to chaos. But in these shadows, we find potential. Each voice contributes to this dialogue, paving the way toward salvation. As the gathering dissolved into laughter and sharing within the warmth of the fire, Oren understood the magnitude of their choice. What had begun as domination had transformed into mutual respect. Each day they worked together forged a bond that grew intricate, forming a complex tapestry laden with the resilience of different worlds. As months passed, Oren and the Keh'nar became intertwined, not only in efforts of creation but in rich, fragrant memory stories that echoed within their hearts like ancient tales rediscovered. However, even as victory materialized, whispers of doubt lingered. The mercenaries remained an unwavering presence, reminiscent of no transformations. They questioned the strength of this sanctuary, patrolling the edges of their newfound truce like shadows, remnants of what had driven division. One day, as Oren ventured along the sanctuary's perimeter in the company of the beast, he spotted familiar silhouettes looming just beyond the tree line. The menacing shapes slipped through foliage, their helmets glinted against the sunlight, armed with an unsettling air of anticipation. "They come again," the beast murmured, sensing the tension echoing through their surroundings. "I'll go," Oren said, clenching his fists, determination replacing fear. "We can't back down now. Everything we've built means something, and they ought to see it." The beast nodded gravely, but a spark ignited in its powerful gaze. "I will stand with you." The pair approached the encroaching mercenaries who drawled in layers of arrogance as they approached the sanctuary. Oren could see through their bravado, quick to assess the warriors standing their ground. But this time, he was prepared to confront them with clarity. "State your purpose," Oren called as they drew closer, his voice firm. "We come for what's ours," barked the leader, an imposing figure adorned with scars of past victories. "You've encroached on territory that does not belong to you." "Territory," Oren shook his head, his voice growing confident. "You mistake invasion for ownership. What we've cultivated here is a sanctuary forged from understanding. What's yours is not just land. In order to coexist, we must acknowledge the significance life offers." The mercenaries shifted, unease crackling among their ranks. They had not expected such resilience. "Enough talk. Strength shall prove itself," the leader snarled. "Bring forth the beast." But the beast stepped forward in solidarity, and Oren matched its challenge. "No. Respect, dialogue, these are the true measures of strength. You cannot win over governance through battles alone." "You think to teach us restraint," the leader scoffed, but Oren held his gaze. "I think we could unite beyond these misunderstandings." Oren's heart raced as he pressed on. "These battles serve no purpose but destruction. Fight us, and you fight for nothing. Join us, and you could take part in a much larger vision. If you'll listen, the sanctuary could be yours too." Laughter rippled among the mercenaries, but the leader raised a hand to silence them. "What makes you believe I could trust your words? Words do not solidify strength." But today, Oren was ready. With a wave of resolve, he explained, "In our home, I learned that fear will always dim the light of growth. Every word spoken here connects our truths. Power born of understanding fosters respect, transcending all goals. You could thrive along with us." The leader hesitated, surrounded by unrest. With Oren's steadfast gaze locked in his, the tension thickened. The fire within Oren's heart became palpable beneath the uncertainty. He sensed a desire for transformation nestled deep within the leader's soul. Eventually, an ember of contemplation flickered across the leader's hardened expression, and as he glanced at his men, uncertainty flickering across their brows, Oren realized something profound had shifted. "In the name of our survival," the leader finally replied, his voice now tinged with gravitas, "we shall listen. You only get one chance, though speak wisely." With the tensions abated, Oren knew this inaugural moment would carry weight. Together, they stepped onto the sanctum of understanding where the fables of their worlds could coalesce. As twilight bathed the sanctuary in soft hues, Oren turned toward the stars streaking across the vast canvas above, a reminder of just how expansive their journey had become. Standing shoulder to shoulder with the beast, who exuded pride alongside fury, Oren felt a swell of hope. As they prepared to share the stories of their worlds woven together by wisdom borrowed from the exchanges of contrasting cultures, he realized that sometimes it took the arrival of an unexpected voice to kindle the flames of change, forging unity from discord. And perhaps, just perhaps, they could teach one another. They could grow. Each of them stood as witnesses to the truth the beings of their worlds were meant to soar, side by side in a symphony woven from refuge, years of struggles, and the unyielding light of shared visions. Oren grinned, excitement coursing through him as they turned to articulate their tales. The future awaited them, a collective journey towards something extraordinary, painted in colors of cooperation that promised a new legacy. In that moment, he understood their world was different, but bound a tapestry frayed yet vibrant, stitched together, one bond at a time.